Business confidence is improving. Hey everyone, it's Wolfgang. So there's been sort of an up and down economy basically over the past 4 years, 4.5 years. The new government came into office on January 20th. And so the economy has not reached the level that we got used to in the past during this president's first term, and so on. But it's getting better. And so I want to talk about how it's getting better, how it's improving. So starting with the Business Optimism Index, the NFIB Optimism Index is a well-known index that tracks business confidence. It's been around for a long time. And over the past 50 years or so, it's averaged about 98. So in an average business climate, the NFIB Optimism Index is about 98. Right now, as of May of 2025, it exceeded the average. It reached 98.8. So that's a bit better than average. So that's a good sign for the economy. In June, the Vistaprint survey of business confidence showed that 50% of business owners are optimistic in the U.S. Greater than 50% of business owners in the U.S. are confident. So those two things together, 98.8 above average, NFIB Optimism Index, and the Vistaprint survey exceeding 50% confidence. This is a good sign. So the thing that I want to point out is in April, 2 months ago, the NFIB Optimism Index was 95.8. It was below average. So we're on an uptrend. So that's a good sign. The tariff issue that everyone thought was going to crash the economy is in a subdued condition right now. It's not crashing the economy. It's been 3 months or so, not quite 3 months, after April 2nd's Liberation Day, when the current government announced tariffs, and it threw everyone into a panic. Oh, that's going to crash the economy. It hasn't. There's been less than a 2% increase in prices on average across widely bought consumer items. 2%, less than 2% increase in prices. There are some things that have jumped in price. There's no question about it. I'm just saying on average. The increase in prices is nothing like what was predicted on Liberation Day 3 months ago. So the tariff situation is not hurting the U.S. economy. And you have to remember there are some tariffs that are in full effect right now. For example, auto tariffs are 25%, and then on Japan, it was an extra 24% for reciprocal tariffs. So they're at close to 50% tariffs, and yet Japan automakers lowered their prices to retain their market share in the U.S. So instead of car prices skyrocketing, they're actually lower. Japan is eating the tariffs. So there's two companies in particular. Goldman Sachs estimated that for Nissan and Mazda, their profits have dropped 56% for Nissan, 59% for Mazda. So their profits are down because they're eating the tariffs. Their thinking is rational. What they're saying is it's more important over the long term to retain the size of our market share in the United States than it is to make profit right now, right? So, and that's the right move, at least as long as it doesn't go on forever, because eating the tariffs like this, unless a trade agreement is reached, because a trade agreement has been reached in some places, like with Britain, the trade agreement. So if Japan manages to figure that part out, the 24% reciprocal tariff will probably go away, and the auto tariff will probably drop too. And so Japan automakers are thinking rationally and saying, we're going to hold off on passing tariffs on to consumers. We're going to eat the tariffs to retain our market share. And it's a smart move, because it costs a fortune in marketing to gain market share. Once you have it, you don't want to lose it. So again, the tariff issue is subdued. The economy is not crashing because of the tariffs. Again, the NFIB Optimism Index is above average. It's 98.8, and it has increased from April. So let's talk about job creation so far in 2025. These are some examples from different industries. Steelworker jobs, 5,000 new steelworker jobs this year in 2025 so far because of the steel tariffs. It's creating jobs because of onshoring, right? Onshoring is creating new jobs. And also new job options are opening for U.S. citizens because mass migration that occurred over the past 4 years is being reversed. So a lot of people taking American jobs are they're exiting the country. A lot of them are leaving voluntarily and making $1,000 in the process. And then they can come back legally through the legal process if they want to. More than 40% of businesses plan to hire Okay, that's almost half. That is business confidence. When that larger percentage of businesses are increasing their payroll, that means they're confident. They don't do that if they're unconfident. Now, I want to mention something about job creation. There are some sectors, like in technology and in finance, that are affected differently because of artificial intelligence, obviously. So another bright spot in our economy, tax relief is coming. So there has been an expectation among business owners in the U.S. because of the first term of the current president. There was a tax relief that really helped businesses. So there's a positive expectation that's going to be repeated, and it will, because there's a tax bill that's currently making its way through Congress that will most likely go into effect, that will bring back the tax breaks to companies to create more jobs. Because the bottom line is, we need job creation as much as possible. We've got onshoring, we've got mass migration being reversed, and we've got tax relief coming that will allow companies to spend on growth instead of spending on taxes. So what are some thriving businesses right now? I didn't have room for everything. So cybersecurity is in good shape. Pet services like grooming, pet sitting, pet products, online tutoring. E-commerce is relentlessly growing. E-commerce has been growing for a long time, ever since the mid-1990s. It's going to continue to grow and create jobs. Renewable energy, wind and solar, rideshare services are expanding. So here are some onshoring. Here are some companies that are creating jobs due to onshoring. Toyota is adding jobs in Georgetown, Kentucky. Hyundai Steel is creating new jobs in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Again, because of the steel tariffs, onshoring is happening for the steel industry. General Motors creating a lot of new jobs in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Chobani creating new jobs in Rome, New York. Kohler, they make all the bathroom fixtures and a lot of plumbing products. Kohler is creating new jobs in Casa Grande, Arizona. This is onshoring. These companies are creating jobs because the tariffs created incentives to manufacture and operate inside the U.S. instead of offshore. And then, because if they do that, there's no tariff. So that creates jobs for the U.S. That's why all these companies are creating jobs here in the U.S. Nucor, adding jobs in Kentucky and Alabama. Microporous, adding jobs in Virginia. And a lot of other companies are onshoring and creating jobs. So here are some companies that are creating and have plans to create a lot of jobs. Micron Technology, 2,000 jobs. Apple Computer, onshoring, 1,500 jobs. General Motors, 2,000 jobs. Roche, which is basically pharmaceuticals, 12,000 jobs. Roche is onshoring to the United States. 12,000 new jobs are in the works. So the total job numbers created by onshoring so far, between 100,000 and 150,000 new jobs. That's just in the first few months of this year, right? So the counterbalance to all these new jobs being created, I mentioned the AI job elimination in technology and finance. It's affecting, 10%, 15% of the workforce in those industries in tech and finance. Also, high interest rates, because the Fed announced yesterday they're not lowering interest rates. Yet again, they're not going to lower interest rates. So high interest rates are stopping job creation in the trades, because what's happening is mortgages are 7% right now, and a lot of people cannot qualify for a home loan. And when that happens, the following trades jobs do not get created: flooring, lighting, appliances, like installation, furniture, remodeling, landscaping, a lot of jobs that are related to home buying and home selling, because when you sell a home, you have to put it in good shape so it will sell. So it will have curb appeal and so on. And when you buy the new place, you invest in it. New furniture, new window coverings, new lighting, painting, landscaping. So all those jobs are not being created, not until they start lowering interest rates. So what you can see is there is pent up job creation that's just waiting for interest rates to come down, and they will, because there are signs that the job market, the continuing claims is higher than what they would prefer. So that's the counterbalance to all the jobs created by onshoring, is interest rates are being kept high. Once that problem is solved, the economy will be off to the races. I mean, it will just take off like a rocket. I think we will start seeing that this year in 2025. We're already seeing signs of it. I mean, NFIB optimism index is above the average, and it's increased from April. So things are already starting to improve. Lots of new jobs created. every one of these people hired by an onshore because of a new onshore job spend. They will go out and spend in the economy, and overall, that will create other jobs, the knock-on effect. So we have great things to look forward to. The one snag is the Federal Reserve is stubbornly, they could, when you look at inflation, they lowered interest rates 50 basis points last year, and inflation was higher than it is now. And yet inflation has fallen and they still will not lower interest rates. So there's something unusual there. But that is pent-up job creation. That's the best way to look at it, is when those jobs, the trades jobs related to the home buying and home selling market, when those manifest, when those come online, the economy will really take off. So if you have any questions about this, please post questions in the comments. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. And I really want to thank everyone for watching, and have a great day.